Hello, it's Crafty Carol here again with some more little videos for you, and I thought I'd have a play today with these sets. These are two sets that come as bundles with punches. So we've got the Hello Ladybird, and it comes with a punch. Hopefully you can see, and there's not too much glare there, of the ladybird and some wings to go with it. It's got another ladybird here with a back you can cover, flowers, a leaf, lots of nice sentiments, loads of stuff to do on that. So that's ladybird. And then we've got the Happy Hedgehogs. We've got two little gorgeous hedgehogs. This one fits the punch, and the punch actually cuts out this hedgehog, and it cuts out a separate piece for the back of the hedgehog. It also has, I don't know if you can see, two little tiny eyes that you can use for the hedgehog. Personally, I find that sort of thing a little bit too fussy, but there you go. So I'm making some cards at the moment. The reason I'm using these lovely sets, I'm making some cards for my great nieces because it's their birthdays over the next month or so. So without further ado, you're not there to ask which I'll do first, so I think we'll do ladybugs first. So I've got a few bits done already, cut out. I'll show you the idea I've had for this card. So I'm going to use the Ladybug set, but I'm also going to use the sentiments from two other sets. The Charming Sentiments set that matches the Sentiment Silhouette dies, but it's got some lovely sentiments for inside the card. And the Go to Greetings set, which I love. It's definitely a go-to set for me. It's got 5 different greetings in 3 different fonts and 3 different sizes. So it is so useful. Anyway, we're going to use Happy Birthday, and yeah, let us get on. So I'm using, for this, I'm using a base card of Sweet Sorbet, which is the usual size of 21 by 14.8 and scored at 10.5. And I have cut 2 pieces of basic white, one for the front and one inside, and these are a centimetre less, so I've got a border of 1/2 centimetre all the way round. So this is 13.8 by 9.5, and I've done them both the same size. And then I've cut out various bits, so I'll show you what I've done here. Well, I've got one extra bit of there. I lost one actually. I lost one when I was preparing this, and I found it again. So at some point I can make another ladybug, but that's okay. So to show you how I use the punch, I simply punched out the ladybird shape out of black card, the basic black, and I punched out the wings from Sweet Sorbet. So they come out like that. And all I've done is use the dots from the set. These dots match the wings. You can obviously stamp that in Sweet Sorbet and cut them out from white. I just happen to make it simpler for myself and cut them out in Sweet Sorbet. And then I've just used Memento to stamp the dots on. Now this other little ladybug, I thought I'd show you that one. It's a lovely stamp. It's got the ladybird and the dots, and I've already stamped that on the envelope in black. So I want to add here the back bit of the ladybird, which is this stamp. It's got a partial stamp here, and so I can do the outline of the ladybug. I'm also going to do that on one of the inside cards. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first I'm going to stamp my ladybug in Memento. I've already done the envelope. So let's just stamp up the stamp, and we will make sure it's covered. Yeah. On one of the, getting dirt on it already. Good job there's an emergency side. I've obviously got some ink around the side of my pad. That's not good. So I'm going to just stamp this. My pad needs re-inking as well, to be honest. Anyway, we're going to have this at the bottom of the inside of the card here. Just like that. So that's stamped in Memento, and then put this away without getting hopefully too much more ink all over my fingers. And then I'm going to get my Sweet Sorbet, and I'm going to use this infill colour and just stamp up that, make sure it's covered, and we'll do the envelope and the piece here. So let's do the envelope first. So these are see-through, so you can actually, my head might get in the way a little bit, but you can actually line them up. So through the stamp you can see the black dots, so you can line this up so that when you actually put it down, it is lined up and it fills in the shape of the ladybird beautifully. So that's the ladybird on the envelope. Let's do the one on the inside as well. So line it up. Look at the lines on the outside and the dots, and then press it down and you get the infill for the ladybird. So I love this little ladybird, and my recommendation is to do it that way around. Don't do the infill and then try and get the ladybird on top. That is harder. How do I know? Because I tried it. So my recommendation is always do it this way, because you can always use a pen if there's a little bit, like there's a tiny weeny bit of white there. So I can always use my sweet sorbet pen. Let me just get it from up here. There we go. Just to fill in those bits if I feel I need to. So I can just complete that. The stamp itself, to me, doesn't quite fit. There's always either a little gap by the neck here or there's a little gap at the back here, but hey. But there, quickly use this Stampin' Right marker and we can colour in any bits of there. All done. Yes, I'm happy with that. Can fiddle forever. But if it doesn't quite fit in, don't worry, just use your marker to fill it in. So that's done that bit of stamping. I'm going to use the, I think, Wishing You Everything Wonderful. Now, she's only 2, my little niece, but that's okay. Yeah, Wishing You Everything Wonderful. That's this one, which I've already used in a dark colour, obviously from the staining on the stamp, but that's okay. And I shall stamp that in Sweet Sorbet to match. You could do it in Memento, but I think I'll do it in Sweet Sorbet. So again, just stamp up the stamp, Wishing You Everything Wonderful, and we'll have that at the top of the card there. So that's the inside of the card. So it's a nice set, this Charming Sentiments. I think it is somebody who actually did $1 million in sales. I shall never reach that, but who was it? Lisa Curcio. Oh, she has some wonderful videos as well on YouTube. So look her up because she has wonderful things. Right, so that is the sentiment for the inside. And for the front, let me show you what I'm going to do, and then I'll leave that pad there for a minute. So my plan for this, and I've already got some of these printed, so I've got this one for the inside. Let me stick it in, and then we've got that done. There we go. So this goes on the inside. There we go. And for the front here, I'm going to have, oh, a little bend in the card. I'll make sure that's straight later. So I'm going to have my white piece on here, and I'm actually going to use the leaves. Now, what I've done is I've stamped these in, I think I used Old Olive onto garden green paper. I tried different ones. I tried lemon lime because I like that colour, but it didn't show on the garden green paper. It was too bright on the white paper, so I've gone with this. Well, we'll see. And all I've done is I've then cut it out, fussy cut. There isn't a punch for this, unfortunately, so I've cut out 2 leaves, and then I've actually put them through my trimmer that you can see and just scored just above where the stalk is, so there's a bend, because I want this so that my great niece can lift it up like this and find a ladybird underneath. That's my idea. So I'm going to have one at the top, one at the bottom. So this one was garden green on garden green. You can see it is slightly darker, but I don't think that matters. So I'm going to have 2 ladybirds like that. So I want my happy birthday across the middle there. So I'm going to use the middle-sized one, I think, which is this one. And I think we might do this in Memento, because I think doing it in Sweet Sorbet actually is going to be a little bit over the top. So I think we'll do this in Memento. So I'm leaving those on there just as a sort of guide for where I want to actually stamp this. Trying to not get any ink on my fingers again. Just stamp up the stamp. So I'm going to have this right in the middle. So we'll have that there. I could do that on a separate piece of card if I wanted, but I have to post this down south into Southern Ireland, so I don't want a very thick card because the postage down there is actually quite a lot anyway, so I don't want to have to add to it. So what I'm going to do now is stick my leaves on, but I'm only going to stick the bit beyond the bend, if that makes sense. And I'm going to stick these on first because I don't, it doesn't bother me if my ladybirds are going to stick out a little bit, but I do want these to stick down well. So I'm going to stick the first one there and the second one at the top. So I'm just using a little bit of Tombow, and then I'm going to let these dry while I make up my ladybirds. Oops, a little bit of glue on there, but that's okay. So I've stuck those down, so they're going to flap up like that. So I'm going to leave those to dry while I make up the ladybirds. I've already stamped the wings here, so now it's just a matter of gluing the wings to the body. So I just need a little bit of glue in the top of the wing there, and it just fits around the neck here. So you can see where the neck is on the ladybird. I can stick my wings on there, and I'm leaving the wings a little bit loose because I want them to sort of show. So I've only done a little bit of glue across the neck bit, as you can see. So you can see the neck on the punched out shape. So we can put the wings across the neck, squeeze it down, lift the wings a bit to give some dimension there. So there are my ladybirds done. How good is that? I also want to stick this on, so I haven't left myself too much room there, but that's okay because, oh, should I put it down there? Yeah, I should have placed this before. I can't decide where to have it. I need you to be live so I can you can tell me where I have it. I think I'll have it at the top there. So actually I might just use a little bit of dimension. I don't like not having dimension on cards, so I'm going to put a little bit on just with some of these little mini dimensionals, which is fine. Just need a few of those. On my number 2, this is a retired set, which I'm never ever selling. These numbers and dies were from a few years ago. I think that they're like hen's teeth. If you actually want them, you can probably charge, if I wanted to sell them, I could probably charge quite a lot for them, because I know people desperately want them, but they're not having them because I'm keeping mine. But you can buy sticker sheets and things of numbers, or just cut it freehand if you wanted. Okay, so there is the front of my card done. I'm going to stick it down first to my front before I stick my ladybirds on. And now I want my little ladybirds just peeking out of there. And I can leave their little feelers without any glue on. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the body and do both of them at the same time. I'm sticking to everything today. Is it really hot where you are? It's boiling here. Northern Ireland has actually had a heat wave, which is, we don't have heat waves. So I'm going to have one just tucked in there. There we go. And the other one just tucked in here. I want to make sure that the leaves cover the wings, but my niece can actually lift those leaves to find the ladybirds hidden underneath. And I think her too, she'll enjoy that. So there is my little ladybird card ready for my great niece. So the hedgehog. This is my Happy Hedgehogs set. And again, I've already punched these out. Now I was having a play with this because I wasn't sure about this set. So let me get all my bits out and show you. So for this set, I'm just going to, I've got a number 5 because this one is actually for my other niece, so my 5 will have to go there. So I've done the front of the card. This set comes with some beautiful stamps. It's got this lovely sort of bush with flowers on. It's got a little butterfly, which I may well add onto here, a little bird, the 2 hedgehogs and a toadstool. So I've actually used the bird for the inside of the card, and I've also just put it on the front, and I've coloured them with my Stampin' Blends. So that's already done. Just need to put my greeting on. So I'm going to put my number on first. Ooh, I've got another 2 there, that's okay. I need to make a card for my mum, so that's for my mum to give my great niece. So that's, or her grandchild, of course, her great grandchild. I don't know, great niece is great. It makes me sound very old. I don't feel that old, but hey, I am. So I'm going to have my 5 there. And I'm going to have my happy birthday up here. Now, you may say, how do I get my happy birthday there without it looking really strange? Well, there's a great technique for doing this, which I have shown in one of my posts this week, my blog post this week, on my Tech for Stampers blog hop post. But, oh, stick down you. Why aren't you sticking down? There we go. Which is partial stamping. And for that, you simply need, you just need some little sticky notes. So I'm going to stamp happy birthday here. I shall do it in Memento just for speed as that's here. So the way to do it, we're going to get our little sticky note, and then I'm just going to cover up the word I don't want, which is birthday at the moment. And then I can stamp up my happy, and I do this sort of just over the edge. I try not to get too much on my sticky note because it gets on my fingers then, and as you know, I'm messy anyway. So I can check that's okay, take off my sticky note, and you see birthday isn't inked at all. So I can have happy in the middle up here, and birthday isn't there at all. So little clue, when you dry it, make sure it's completely dry. So I either run a piece of kitchen roll, which I seem to have lost. I did have some. I've got a dry bit of sponge here. I'll do that just to make sure there is no water or ink left on, because you can get a little ghost image if you're not careful. And then we reverse it, so we stick this over the happy now, and then we can ink up birthday like this. Oh, I've got a little bit on there, that's okay. I can just ease that off. So very carefully get that off without actually putting it anywhere else, and make sure it's dry. That is the key. So you don't want to ink it and then wipe it off, because you nearly always get it some sort of ghost then. But I've just got the birthday. You can see that the birthday is inked and the happy isn't. And my little bit of paper can just go in the bin now, because I don't need that anymore. So now I can stamp my birthday underneath my happy. And as you can see, I've got happy birthday above each other using a long stamp. That's a really nice technique when you just want to have words elsewhere. Some people actually cut the stamps. I don't like that. There's very little room actually in this one, and I don't like damaging my stamps too much. And this is such an easy technique to do it. I'd prefer to do it this way. So there's the front of my card. I'd already stamped the tree and I've coloured it in using my various different stamping blends. I've put lots of little bits of grass. There is a little tiny bit of grass in the stamp set, so I've used that there, and again coloured that in with the lemon lime twist to match the base. This is just an ordinary base, the usual, so 21 by 14.8, scored and folded at 10.5, and these are as before, they're 13.8 by 9.5. So I'm going to stick these on. I haven't done the bit. I can finish the inside later. I'll put on a similar sentiment, I think. Or I might use wishing you the happiest of birthdays, which I also use quite a bit from that same set. Oh, this is the front, so stick it on the front, not inside, Carol. I don't get mixed up. There we go. That is for the inside, but as I say, I'll finish stamping that later. But I wanted to have a look at these hedgehogs. I've been really playing with them, so because I can't decide which is best. So I do have, where have I put them? Oh, here. I was stamping them on different bits of cards. So I tried first of all stamping my big hedgehog just on some crumb cake, so I have the colour in his body, and then I actually stamped and then punched the back of the hedgehog, because the hedgehog builder has got like its spines separately in pecan pie, so I stamped on the pecan pie and then cut it out, and that is the result. So I have my little crumb cake hedgehog with my pecan pie stuck on spines. But to be honest, I didn't actually like it. So I had to play around again. So I also tried stamping my little hedgehog here and then colouring him in pecan pie. But that, again, I didn't really like. And when I put them on the card, I don't know, they just look dull. So I gave up on that, and I have actually done them instead. I need to, I was just playing here. I've done these on the white card, which I think are better. Now I just need to decide, do I want to actually colour in the hedgehoggy bit? I may do actually, and I need for that my crumb cake stamping blends. So you get a light and a dark. I'm going to use the light one. And we'll just try, because I've got two of these just so that I can try one and see if I like it, and if I don't, I'll leave it. Not sure. Pecan pie is very brown, but I don't want to use pecan pie because that's quite a dark colour. Got to decide. There we go. Now obviously that will lighten as it dries a little bit. Do I want to, or do I want to just leave them light? Now there is another way you can colour them, and it's how I've done these spines here at the back. and I can actually use my stamp pad and use the ink from there to colour. So I'm going to, let's have a play and see what I actually like. And I do like this new Pecan Pie. It's the most beautiful brown. So we will do it in that because I do like that. So simple way to colour without using our, several things I'm going to show you today. So first of all, I'm going to stamp my hedgehog. So I've got him stamped there. And before the ink is fully dry, I'm going to clean my stamp first. Before that ink is fully dry, I'll just close that up so I don't get water in there because I don't want it. I can use an aqua painter just to move the colour around in his spines. Can you see how that's sort of colouring in the spines? Which is a really nice way to do this. So there we go, and that's coloured in the spines. That's what I've done on the ones I've done before. And I really like that as a colouring technique rather than having to use pens on it, which were just too dark. As you could see in that one, it's just too dark when I do that. Don't like that. So I think we'll go with this. But I might want to colour the body a little bit, and I think crumb cake is not actually the right colour. Don't like it. So I'm going to use Pecan Pie. But obviously if I try and sort of bring this in, it's going to be a little bit too dark. So what I can do is get my stamp pad out and use my stamping block to pick up some ink. So I've now got plenty of ink on that stamping block, because you don't want to ever take water anywhere near your stamp pads. Doesn't do it any good. And then I can just pick up a little bit of colour on my aqua painter, and using a bit of scrap paper, it's a messy bit, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to take some of the colour off till it's really quite pale, and then I can colour my hedgehog in just using that. And if I want to add a bit more colour, I can repeat that, take it off till there's not much on, and use that just to colour my hedgehog there. And I think that's much, much better if we compare it to the one I've just coloured in using the blends. Don't like that at all, but I do like these coloured like this. So I'm going to do the other two just while I'm here. And just to clean this, by the way, if you just dab it on a piece of paper or just on your finger or blotting paper or whatever until there's no colour in it, then it's clean for next time. Right, so there are my coloured in little hedgehogs. I can punch this out. Let me show you the punch working very well. Although before I do that, I better just clean that stamp because it's covered in ink and I shall get it all over myself. So I'm just wiping it off on my cloth, and I shall wash the cloth out later. So just to show you the stamp, when you're using these, do think when you're using your piece of card which way round the hedgehog is in the stamp. I want the hedgehog facing this way, which is why I've done it up this end of the card. I should have said that, because then I'm not wasting any card as I bring this in. And I can line that up. So she's trying to line it up without looking over it and getting my head in the way of the video. Not very well. There we go. There, that's right. Punch him out. And there he is. As I say, there's two little tiny little punches that punch out. You can see it there. So somewhere on my desk, I've got two tiny bits of white. Punch those out at black or pecan and use those. Oh, there they are, the two little dots. Don't want those. You can do it in Pecan Pie or whatever and use them as little eyes. I didn't want to. So there's my punched out and coloured hedgehog, which I think is better. There's my colours to compare. So I'm going to use my painted one on here, and I'm just going to have two little hedgehogs saying hello to each other in the grass by the tree. So I'm going to have them on dimensionals. I can use those hedgehogs in another project. Seems we've got a lot of hedgehogs around my desk now, which is fine. So I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on these. I don't want too much dimension on the card. As I say, it's going, otherwise it could be quite a lot to post. So there's my first little hedgehog, and here's my second. If I can get the tops off the dimensionals, there we go. So one sitting in the grass and the other one coming to say hello. And there's my birthday card. When I finish the middle, it's ready to send to my great niece. So I could put the butterfly in. I could have the butterfly flying around the tree as well. I might. A little gap there, but we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed those cards. I hope you're going to have another look at the punches in the catalogue, because they really are super. Let me just bring the other card in so we haven't lost it. There we go. So there's my two cards. I've got my Hedgehog Builder one, and I have got somewhere, wherever I put it out of the way, I've lost it now. there, my Ladybug one. So again, there, hopefully those are all in view and you can see them. Those are the sets I was playing with today. So I hope you like these ideas for little peeky cards, for painting and stamping. I hope that's given you a lot of ideas. Don't know what I'm going to call this video because I've used so many different techniques, but hey, I hope you enjoyed it. And do come and sign up on my website, craftycarolscards.co.uk. All the instructions are there. If you sign up for my email list, you can get a free PDF if you just let me know which one you want. And you'll know when I'm going to be doing these things again. And hopefully you'll pick them up. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.